Welcome to the Roadmap, Benzinga's new NFT show. We've had some great interviews on this show. The teams behind Pixel Vault, Art Blocks, the Vogu Collective, Robotos, Dogepound, Oniforce, Crypto Dads, Dizzy Dragon, Supduck, and more. We also did an NFT giveaway. Stay tuned. We got more giveaways coming in the future. We have a great show today. Blockchain Boys joining us later on. Let's get it started. This is the Roadmap. All right, yeah, for anyone new to the show, this is the Roadmap, Benzinga's new NFT show. We've been going for a couple weeks now. We've had some great interviews on the show covering education of the NFT sector, news and headlines as well, covered by myself and also my wonderful co-host, Maz. Maz, what's going on, buddy? How you doing today?
Yo. What's up, Chris? I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I mean, it's a busy Wednesday. It looks like we got quite a few people joining us right now. So if we can get everyone to smash that like, and if you have not subscribed to Benzinga's YouTube channel yet, make sure you subscribe. We want to do more NFT coverage, and we need the support of the community out there. We also have this cool new layout. If you're new to the show, you can see it now. If you've watched the show before, you know that we didn't have this layout before. You can actually see your comments appear live on screen. Not many shows out there doing that, Mass. So definitely something that sets us apart. And we want to stay engaged with the community. So you can chat throughout today's episode, and we will try to chat back and answer questions along the way.
Yeah, I love it too, because it allows us to look, and really react to the comments right away while we're talking. So yeah, keep the comments coming, and it allows us to, take what you're saying, your feedback into the episode. So yeah, what do we have today in today's episode, Chris?
Yeah, so we've got an exciting interview coming up today. Today's episode brought to you by Blockchain Boys Club. And we are going to dive into this new NFT project and what it's all about and how it's different than other NFT projects out there. So I'm super excited about that interview. Before we get into that interview, Maz, we usually air Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern time. For anyone who follows our normal schedule, they might not know that we actually did an interview Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time with Lazy Lions. And that was an exciting interview. So if you didn't get a chance to watch that, make sure you find that video. Maz, what did you think of Lazy Lions in that interview?
Yeah, man, that episode was definitely one of my favorites to shoot. Time flew. Before we knew it, it's been, X amount of time. A lot of good information of how, if you're starting a project, how to do it right. That community is probably one of the strongest communities that I see on Twitter, on Discord, and talking to the founders on Monday kind of showed us why they did that. So great episode. Shout out to the Lazy Lion team and community.
Definitely. All right, Maz. Well, let's dive into today's interview. And then we will get to news and headlines at the end of the show, something that we like to do on every episode if we're able to. So joining us on the show today, we have Leighton from Blockchain Boys. Let me go ahead and bring Leighton onto the stream. What's going on? How are we doing today, Leighton?
What's up, everybody? It's great to be on the show. As I mentioned before, big fan of it. I've been diving more and more into you guys' content. You're so on it. So it's an honor to be featured on here. Hi, Maz. Hi, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Of course, we're so happy to have you on. We're happy to hear about Blockchain Boys Club and how it's different than other NFT projects out there. Something we always like to talk about on the show, right? How are projects different? Where's the future value coming from? So I'll kick off the questions here before we dive into Blockchain Boys Club. Leighton, just wondering if you can tell us a little bit of your history with NFTs. Were you involved with NFTs prior to Blockchain Boys Club?
Yeah, a little bit so. I've been involved in the blockchain space since 2017, just kind of keeping up to date, trading, all kinds of different coins, fell in deep in the very beginning in a bunch of ICOs. And one of those that I explored around that time was the whole crypto kitty craze, and then back when it crashed Ethereum. So there was already kind of NFTs were on the radar a little bit, but I think, I mean, obviously it wasn't until this year that the space has really kind of taken charge of going mainstream. And so, yeah, no, I've been involved in a few projects in the last few months. And I don't know, there were a few different things that we were kind of looking for when we were, investing in different projects. And something that we kind of identified was kind of the lack, if you will, of a meaningful origin story, or at least in our opinion, of a couple of projects where we're like, look, there's something that we think is missing. There's something that we think we can bring to the space that's maybe a little bit more organic. So we really just wanted to kind of put our thoughts out there, put our movement out there, and just kind of see who gravitated towards it.
Perfect. So that moves us into Blockchain Boys Club. So tell us about Blockchain Boys. How did this project come about? What is the origin story of this NFT project?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, one of the co-founders and I, we dove into the space. He introduced me to blockchain back in 2017, right? This was when Bitcoin had just broken $4,000. I still remember the memes on the Reddit. Everyone kind of going crazy of Bitcoin breaking 4,000. And it was just like, what a time to be alive. And little do we know that was only the beginning of it, right? So we kind of really fell into the space, fell in love with the technology, how it was disrupting the financial space as a whole. And so we got really invested, made a little bit of money here and there. And then naturally in the crash of 2018, just kind of fell into this crazy space of anxiety, stress. There was no one really ever to tell us that, when you make 10,000% returns on an ICO, like that's not normal. You don't regularly should expect that, right? But there was no one really to kind of take us by the hand. And so that was my introduction also into kind of trading as a whole, including stocks, right? So again, we've been trading ever since. Like we couldn't totally neglect the space. As much as you want to walk away from crypto at times, it always just pulls you right back in, right? You can't help but check the tickers every now and then. And I always joke about this too. I tell people, if you haven't gone through bouts of depression at a certain point in your experience of trading cryptocurrency, you probably haven't been in long enough. So I mean, we've been there. I mean, we're just trying to be human about it. Be very real about it. That we've made money at times, we've lost a lot more money in a lot more times. And we wanted to kind of bring into the space an element of a support system. So again, I'm a big believer coming from a startup background along with my co-founder. When you create a project, you got to have two things, right? One is to solve a real world problem. And the second is it's got to be a product that you stand behind 100%. You think this is a value product. So with that first point, what we really wanted to do, we're like, look, everything in the blockchain space moves so fast. You look at the DeFi craze in 2019. I mean, the whole ICO craze of 2017. You look at what's happening with NFTs. Now it's so easy to fall asleep, for a month or two. And before you know it, you've missed 1,000 different projects. So we're like, what mechanism really would solve that issue, right? What would really solve that problem? And at the end of the day, it didn't seem like there was anything else besides building a meaningful community where people were bringing in insight. They were alluding to different trading signals. They were telling you, hey, this might be a great buy opportunity. This would be a great short opportunity. Take a look at what's happening in this NFT space. Take a look at this project. So again, what we're trying to do is really bring together the best and the brightest of people who have some of this valuable insight and bring it into a collective where it can be shared and valued and people can really benefit from it. Because I remember in the early days too of, again, 2017, a lot of these subreddits were the only spaces for crypto communities to hang out. And at first, the Reddits were, they're really positive, really encouraging. And then you just slowly saw it divulge into this toxic, cultish, because I'm invested in this, I don't want to hear about your coin or something like that, right? And I think it's also an element of human nature, right? When prices start to go down, people start to kind of delve into this idea of, I believe in the project, I want to stick with it, and then you lose a little bit of rational sense. And again, I've seen communities that have been really positive and stayed true through that time. So we had a good sense of like, look, let's build out something that doesn't divulge into something necessarily toxic, where people can come in, talk about other NFT projects by all means, talk about, hot cryptocurrencies, talk about trades that might be beneficial to other people. And again, it just kind of relieves the burden off any one person, and it makes it all more manageable, a little bit more like you're not going at it alone. And again, when you have bad days and you make bad trades, it's going to happen. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's going to happen at some point. The whole thing is just to kind of, pick yourself back up, do more technical analysis, do more fundamental analysis, figure out what should be the next trade and move on. And I've been in this space along with my co-founder where we've fallen into bouts where it's just, you didn't have that support system and it's hard to pick yourself up sometimes. So we wanted to come from a space again, just to kind of solve that core problem. And then the second point that I alluded to, we really wanted to create like a piece of artwork, a project that we could stand behind and say, dude, we think this is awesome. We're not creating it for creation's sake. And yeah, we just kind of put it out there, see who gravitates towards it. We've started building an awesome community, and I don't know, man, it's just incredibly inspiring to kind of see people gravitate towards something that you just create and put out into the world. So that's been, just kind of also just a huge benefit of creating this and just building out and beginning to build some meaningful relationships. And yeah, that's kind of where we come from and what we're trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was a bit of a rant.
No, you're fine. That's awesome to hear. One of the things that I saw with this project is the terminal, which is going to provide that NFT insight, some data. Tell us a little bit more about the terminal and how people get access to that.
Yeah, so we were thinking of building out, we've already begun building out the UI of kind of all the different features that we want to include in there. Again, we want it also to be very much community driven. We don't want to be building out features that are going to be totally meaningless or have no value to the end user. So again, depending on the scale of how big we're able to build it to, we'd love to turn it into almost a subscription-based service. But obviously, all of our holders will have exclusive access. We'll be able to access it for free. So again, we're always trying to generate some utility for our holders. And again, we want to build out something that I think what's great about it is we're building something that solves our own problem, because we are active traders. We love to, I've been staring at crypto charts now for, countless number of hours over the last few years. Like, we know what features we would want to include that are actually going to be meaningful, deliver value. So we're just trying to incorporate all of that. And again, make it community driven, create something that's useful. And yeah.
Love that. So Leighton, we're looking at the project here. So it looks like there's going to be 5,555 pieces total. Can you tell us a little bit more about why this number and also what inspired the art, behind this as well?
Yeah, so we had actually originally selected 10,000 because that just kind of felt like an industry standard. When we were coming into it, we kind of just picked up on a few things that some of the other projects were doing. But kind of as we got more into it, we were talking with our community, we were thinking, we don't necessarily want 10,000 members. You really think about how each member might be able to contribute and give insight. It doesn't feel like you would have that same sense of community if it was that large. Even though 10,000 maybe doesn't seem that large to a lot of people, in real terms of people actually engaging with the project, being a part of it, 10,000 just felt kind of too big. So we're like, we could almost cut that in half realistically. And then we just kind of liked the number 555. It had a little bit more of a kind of ring to it. So that's how we landed on that. The artwork, we wanted to kind of make it a caricature of a human. But funny enough, what we actually began with was we eliminated that cyborg component, which you can see on the right side. So we've got 3 different now metal skins, bronze, silver, and gold, that we've included there. Because, I don't know, we felt like as soon as we had made it too much of a real caricature of a human, it kind of felt like maybe you were trying to adopt someone else's personality, or it was too much reflective of a persona that wasn't yours. I don't know. So we wanted to make it a little bit more kind of alien, if you will. So we've got an awesome illustrator I've become very good friends with, who's been working with us. Shout out to Ignacio. He does fantastic work. By all means, I want him to kind of make it out of this too. So his LinkedIn is on there. All of our LinkedIns are on there for the core team. Again, we believe in standing by our project. So feel free to also hit up our illustrator and get in contact with him if you like the artwork, because it is phenomenal. We think it's incredibly well done, and we've just finished all our designs and they came out really nice. So we love what we've managed to accomplish here, and yeah, need to give credit where credit's due. So shout out to Ignacio for that.
Nice, love that. So there's 2,000 available in pre-sale. How can people get on the whitelist?
Yeah, so the whitelist is acquired by engaging in our Discord. So we've got a Discord community that's live right now, and if you come in and join, we've got a few requirements there, just in terms of the number of amount of activity that you have to be involved with, and then there's a few other criterions. I think it's 3 invites as it stands right now, and we're going to slowly make it a little bit more exclusive as we approach that 2,000 mark. So we want to make it a little bit tougher, and again, reward some of our earlier members with a little bit easier access to that whitelist.
Love that. So, gas is something that we talk about continually here, on the ETH blockchain as well. The mint cost is
It's tricky.
0.065. So, have you taken gas into, when you consider pricing and everything, is gas something that you guys consider, or how did you guys decide on pricing as well?
Yeah, so actually when we reduced our total supply about a week ago, we actually also cut down our price. So the original one was 0.08. And that's because at the time that we had kind of conceptualized that, it was around the $300 mark. And so obviously Ethereum, with where it is, gas prices going up much higher where they are, we felt like it was necessary to kind of cut back on that price, and we could still hit kind of the benchmark which we wanted to. So yeah, we've tried to factor that in. But again, I think gas is one of those tricky things that I don't know if anyone's fully cracked the solution to it, assuming that you want to stay on Ethereum, which we want to do. And we've kind of already set that in stone. So it's a little bit tough, but I think we're going to do a little bit more to kind of figure out maybe what are the best times, what are the best days, and try to frame our pre-sale around that.
That's awesome, man. Love to hear that.
So Leighton, one of the things we talk about a lot with projects is, the roadmap and what's coming.
Yeah.
And a lot of projects out there, merchandise is something that they launch, later down the road. So I saw that Blockchain Boys Club already has merchandise out. So tell us a little bit, why merch early, and how is that important to help build this community prior to the launch?
Yeah, so I think our store is already live as it stands right now. Again, we very much came from the space, like we're building out this project because it solves a problem that we have ourselves. So we were like, hey man, let's design merch that we would wear ourselves. Let's not like just create a piece of clothing, slap our logo on it, and put it out there just for the sake. Like, let's actually create some cool designs that might pick up.
Yeah, I like that by the dip.
Club could turn into some extent of a So I really love these ones, the by the dip. We've got some cool margin call one, UPIN margin called.
Nice.
So again, we're already working on the next set. I think we've got a scared money, don't make money design coming out. That one should be pretty fun. And again, we just kind of came from the space of, hey man, let's build kind of cool stuff that like I would wear myself. So we're doing that. We've got a model set up so that 100% of the revenue goes back into the company. And we've set it up so that holders, which we haven't integrated as of yet, but holders will actually get a discount, which will kind of totally negate any profit margin that's made on the shirt. So they purely be paying for the fulfillment of it effectively.
Awesome. Yeah, loving that merchandise. Gonna have to check out that store later on. Love the buy the dip one. Someone who's covered the stock market for years. So a phrase that we know all too well, and then added to crypto and NFTs as well. So that's pretty exciting. Leighton, I saw one of the things down the road.
I'm glad you guys like it. First of all, I appreciate that. That's reaffirming to what we're doing here. I don't know. It's all positive.
Validation. There you go. So
exactly that, Chris.
One of the things I saw is you're also launching a podcast, and part of that podcast will be that holders of the NFTs will have ownership in the podcast. Tell us what this means, and again, why it's so important to put money back into the project going forward.
Yeah. So again, two things there. I mean, one is being able to generate revenue. So I mean, we don't necessarily want to create a DAO right here with what we're doing, but we'd love for the project to be self-sufficient in that regard. And one way to do that, you need to have some kind of a revenue stream, some way to generate operational income, right? So the thing is self-sufficient to an extent. And we figured what a great way to be able to do that would be, obviously beyond merchandise, is media created content, or media owned content, should I say, of the company. So I don't know, I've heard of some hilarious stories. Again, we've been in the market for like four-ish years now. And dude, there's some funny stories out there. And I've listened to a bunch of different podcasts, and not too many of them are just like total banter, just funny, And I think where we're coming from, the direction with where we want to take it, we think we can generate something that's genuinely really engaging, high quality. And again, it comes back to this idea, cryptocurrency is stressful, man. Like anyone who says it's not, they're lying, right? Any day that you can see a minus 20%, right? It's a stressful time. So again, it's coming back to the idea of let's relieve a little bit of stress. Let's kind of put things in perspective. Let's kind of ease the burden of like, at the end of the day, they're all just numbers, right? and they're all pixels on a screen. Like let's sometimes put some things in perspective, just ease the tension. And so we wanted to kind of, again, deliver a medium that might do that, and at the same time be high quality. And of course, we wanted to generate revenue. So all ad revenue, any kind of sponsorships that would come out of it would go back into the organization. And then yes, all holders will hold a percentage of the actual podcast. So if we can blow it up, we can get it big enough. If we can sell that down the road, everyone is a direct beneficiary of that.
Nice. So you guys announced a sister collection coming. Can you guys give us a timeline, and how will people get access to that collection?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that collection, I think we're going to be creating, more items than we have kind of in our original collection. So that way, every current NFT holder will obviously be getting a one-to-one of that sister collection, and then we'll also have additional, which would bring in a few more members. We're thinking of, again, calling it the Blockchain Girls Club. We're not 1000% like, because we've been knocked on a little bit, for calling it the Blockchain Boys Club. Is it exclusive to boys? Like, absolutely not. That's not what we're trying to do here. We just thought it had a nice ring to it. So we want to make it a little bit more inviting. And so I think that's what we're going to do. In terms of timelines, we're expecting that to come out probably in the next 2 months. It took us about 6 weeks or so to do all the artwork for our current collection. And obviously we don't want to rush anything. We don't want to push out anything that is low quality. So we wouldn't want to kind of rush that process. So I think it would take at least 6 weeks to finalize all those designs and get that out.
And will this be a free mint or airdrop for current holders that hold the first piece?
Yeah, so that'll be an airdrop for everyone who holds the first piece, and then the rest of the supply will be,
nice,
available on OpenSea. Yeah,
nice. That's awesome. So we've been seeing a lot of projects buying land in the metaverse. Are you guys planning to buy land in the metaverse, and why is it important?
So actually, we just had a fun discussion about that today, because we had a scare that it, or I think Sandbox had just put out a statement that they have completely sold out from a certain collection, and so so we've already been like looking at prices, looking at which piece of land we'd like to purchase. So that's still very much on the roadmap, and I think the metaverse too has kind of just become more of a trending point of the NFT space as a whole. Yeah. I think that was kind of like a subset, kind of when the market kind of first originated as of this year, right? But I think the metaverse has kind of slowly evolved in something a little bit more substantial than what we might have expected it. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see where the NFT space goes, and we don't want to be left behind. We want to be a part of that. And it feels like the metaverse is the next logical step if you want to kind of stay in that space. And we don't want our holders to feel like they're missing out in any way. So
nice. Love that. So we were looking at the roadmap, and we saw, so at 100% sellout, you guys will be giving away a Tesla. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how it's going to work?
Yeah, so once we've kind of finalized our public sale and all of our holders, we've done the reveal. Everyone knows kind of which BC boy they're going to be holding. We're going to do a random selection, and then there's going to be a winner pulled from one of those holders. So again, we just wanted to create some extent of a lottery, just for the sake, again, of kind of feeding into our concept of delivering value. Someone's going to be a big winner, and we wanted to give someone that opportunity.
That's going to be awesome, man.
We're really excited about that.
Yeah, we see a lot of talk about roadmaps, and the Tesla giveaway, again, someone like me who comes from a stock background, and Leighton, I know you mentioned stocks as well. I think that's awesome to see. Well, Leighton, this was fun. Great insight into this project. Do we have a launch date for Blockchain Boys Club, or is that still kind of up in the air here?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we've just kind of finalized on November 20th. So that's going to be next weekend. So we're kind of working towards that. Obviously trying to get just kind of the word out, as much exposure, and just kind of share our message with as many people as possible and see who's interested. Again, we're not saying come buy our NFT. We're just saying come meet us, talk to us. Hopefully, you just kind of see how like genuine, transparent we are. And if you're interested in it, you're interested in it. If you're not, you're not. And yeah, that's kind of all we're trying to do here. So.
Awesome. And there's still spots available on the whitelist then, or is that completely?
Yeah, so the whitelist, has not been filled as of yet, and we're slowly getting there. So we're excited to kind of bring in a few more members, and by all means.
Awesome. Well, joining us on the roadmap, Leighton from Blockchain Boys Club. You just heard him say November 20th. Go ahead, check out that Discord, check out their website. Those links are below in this video description. and maybe you can get on that whitelist, going forward. So Leighton, thanks so much for your time today.
Oh man, I
And
appreciate it. It was a pleasure to meet you, Chris and Maz. Thank you for having me on here.
of
And yeah, fun
course,
discussion, man.
of course. And we look forward to following that mint process and talking to you soon.
By all means, I appreciate it, guys. Have a great rest of your show.
You
Thanks,
too.
man.
Awesome.
Take it easy.
Awesome. Well, there you guys have it. Another great interview here on the roadmap, Blockchain Boys Club. I like it, Maz, right? You can get on the whitelist right now. They've got some fun things planned, right? The terminal where you can get NFT data and insights. They've got the podcast coming where you're going to own a piece of that, right? And the revenue is going to go back into the project. I love that. And then also the sister project coming, right? So you're going to get a free mint of the sister. And then the Tesla giveaway. I mean, I want to win a Tesla, Maz. So, what else is there to say there?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I always look out for projects is transparency. And, to see a founder dox himself, show himself on camera, it's always a good sign. And just, that's always something that I take into account when looking at new projects. So definitely some good information here. And I look forward to keeping up with this project.
Definitely. All right, guys. Well, yeah, if you have a chance, check out Blockchain Boys Club. Again, the description the links are in the description below. And you can find out more about that project. Maz, let's turn to some news and headlines. So one of the things we always like to start the week with is talking about the top 10 NFTs of the previous week by sales volume, right? And I'm going to sound like a broken record, right? Axie Infinity, again, led the way. Big
Never would have
surprise,
guessed.
right? And Maz, they're actually getting close. They might have actually hit it this week. $3 billion in lifetime sales volume. I mean, that's a staggering number, right?
Yeah,
that
that's
they
awesome.
now are over $3 billion. CryptoPunks was number 2 last week. And then we saw a couple cards. Farmers World 3rd, Parallel Alpha 4th. Bored Ape was 5th. The Sandbox, which we talked about last week, right, was up 359%. Sales volume of 14.5 million. And then we saw a couple ape derivatives on the top 10. Fat Ape Club, $10.8 million. Maz, I had not heard of this one, but it was new on the list. And the floor price when I wrote this article was 0.31. And this is a 9,999 project. And essentially, it's just like it says, they're oversized ape NFTs. There it is on screen. And then Desperate Ape Wives, which we talked about the other day, was also in the top 10. And Art Blocks coming in at 10th place last week. So Maz, what do you make of that top 10? Are you surprised to see, some of these ape derivatives do so well? Or is that, not surprising at this point?
First of all, those are some thick boys right there. Those are funny. They're definitely bulking up for winter season.
Look at that. Look at that. They take up the whole screen.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. So the thing with ape derivatives, right? We've seen, there's probably hundreds, if not thousands of them. So it's interesting to see which ones pick up and which ones don't, right? So I saw a couple last week that minted out as well. With ape derivatives, you never know if it's going to be a hit or miss. I'm guessing the community has a big factor to do with it. But I did see these over the weekend, and I thought they were interesting. Same with the Desperate Ape Wives. We saw those last week, and those are cool as well. So apes always seem to be in that NFT metaverse play. So interesting.
Yeah, I feel like you put ape in your name, but it's kind of hit or miss because Maz, I saw some a month ago that didn't sell out. There was one with football jerseys. I can't think of the name now. That one didn't sell out, at least in the first couple days. And I know there's been others. So again, the Bored Ape Yacht Club community, they're so tight knit, and I feel like some of them end up minting these projects. And some of them kind of criticize the projects and, just call them, derivatives that, people shouldn't get into. So, but kind of interesting then if you look at the list, between Bored Ape, Mutant Apes, Fat Apes, and Desperate Ape Wives, that was 4 of the top 10 by sales volume. So a big week out there for apes.
Absolutely. And speaking of apes, right? So we had the Rolling Stone Bored Ape cover. So I don't know if we saw that. We talked about it last week. So for the first time ever, Rolling Stone is minting its NFTs in partnership with the Bored Ape Yacht Club. It went live, I think, a couple minutes ago?
I think right around showtime, it looks like, Maz.
Yeah,
And if we can pull up, yep, there's the site there. So look at that image. We
that's
brought you that
awesome.
image a couple weeks ago, right? The Rolling Stone cover. This is the NFT. So you've got the bananas moving in the background. I mean, this is a full project. And I'm seeing it looks like a bid of 10 ETH is the current high bid right now,
Hmm.
with 5 days, 58 minutes, 25 seconds left. So a 6-day auction. What do you think, Matt? 10 ETH. How high do we go with this Rolling Stone one of one cover?
Well, floor price is around what, like $30? I mean, sorry, 30 ETH for an ape right now. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's hit somewhere around the 15-20 range. Could be more depending on the collectors. There's only what, it's one of one, or is there two pieces available here?
See, I was thinking there was going to be more, but
There's
I'm
more, right?
wondering now if this is this
Yeah,
a
one of
one of
one.
one?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is one of one. Yeah, so that can bring, make it maybe a little more valuable. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see it anywhere above 15 ETH.
And Maz also got a shout out. I scrolled down a little bit, and as soon as this thing went live, the first bid on it was 0.4269 ETH. And then and a little bit later, 10 ETH came in as the high bid. So whoever put that first bid in got quite outbid on that pass.
That's awesome.
So we will have to follow that. We'll talk about that tomorrow, maybe check in on that, and then also
Yeah.
next week we'll be able to talk about the final price on it. So, but something interesting there to watch. Again, Rolling Stone, a major magazine, getting into NFTs and Bored Apes. I mean, just such a big project, such a loyal community.
Yep.
Maz, we've talked recently about one of the biggest news items out there in NFT land, which is just going to get bigger, I think, as it nears close, is Coinbase, right? And we've actually heard several people during interviews mention this too, right? Coinbase is going to launch an NFT marketplace. So there is now over 2.5 million people signed up for the Coinbase waitlist. That is a lot of people, way more
Yep.
than current OpenSea users. So we could see a huge rush for NFTs. And Coinbase reported earnings last night. And on the earnings call, I did Control F and I searched, and they mentioned NFTs 16 times on the
That's
earnings
awesome.
call. The word NFT. That's a lot for a company that is not currently selling NFTs, right? So right now they're focused on cryptocurrencies, but they actually think that NFTs could be bigger than crypto for them someday. That is a pretty staggering fact that they shared. They also said that they want their Coinbase NFT to be a little bit like Instagram, where it's more about showing off the pictures and less like an eBay.
Hmm.
I thought that was pretty interesting because to me, I always thought it was going to be, a huge marketplace. Now it's sounding like maybe they're going to focus more on the PFP side of things and a little bit less on the marketplace. What do you think of that comment, Maz, of wanting to be more like an Instagram than an eBay?
Yeah, so I saw a teaser. There was a teaser floating around on Twitter the other day. I don't know if you saw it, Chris, but it showed the layout, kind of what it's going to look like. And it's very simple, very aesthetic, very clean. You can follow your top, accounts. It will show you, you can make a layout. So you can make your profile, show your favorite NFTs. And it looks very almost like they said, almost social media-esque, as opposed to like a marketplace, which I think is a great idea. I'm hearing that certain projects will have to KYC. This is a rumor, KYC themselves before they launch on their platform, which I also think is a great idea because you avoid a lot of the scams and stuff. So this is going to be a great play for them. To see them be so bullish on this, gets me excited. 2.5 million people signed up, easy access to NFTs. We'll see them kind of get into that gateway. Yeah, exactly. There's kind of like a teaser there. We'll see them get into that gateway, NFT lands, because a lot of people, they don't realize what an NFT is until you
Yep.
join your first Discord, your first community. You realize it's much more than just a JPEG that you can just copy, screenshot. You're becoming part of the community, you're networking, you're joining this amazing world. So I'm excited, man. I really am.
Yeah, and I mean, as we've been saying, right, that we saw like NBA Top Shot, kind of a starter NFT series, a little bit lower price, and a different platform, trading with the Flow blockchain as opposed to ETH. that brought a lot of newcomers to the NFT space. And that's what I think
Yeah.
Coinbase is going to do, right? Coinbase really brought a lot of people to crypto, right? A lot of people have crypto accounts on Coinbase. And it may not be the best crypto platform out there. It may not be the cheapest, but it's very easy to use. And that's what people want, right? And OpenSea is a great marketplace. It's got a lot of people on it, but Coinbase maybe can do different things better and bring new people to the market, and not just a couple new people, Maz. 2.5 million people signed up on this wait list. I mean, I remember when it went live, I signed up, right? And I was like, all right. And then a couple days later, it was like, hey, 1 million people have already signed up. And I was like, holy cow. And now 2.5 million people. I mean, they have not said when they're going to launch, but I mean, this is going to be a huge event for NFTs.
Exactly. No, that's a great point, Chris. And shout out to Bruce in the comments here, who's actually leading us on to the next question here. So if we can highlight his comment, which he's saying, what are our thoughts on the fluctuation of NFTs due to the inconsistent inflation and deflation of Ethereum during our era? And when exactly do you think gas fees will cooperate with new prices? So, Chris, we've seen prices, they've come down. You've seen ETH kind of, NFTs, they're all pretty much down at this point, right? And gas is high. There's less volume. Projects aren't selling out. So we're in a bear market, we could say. What do we think about this? Why is this happening? Is it going to keep happening? Is there a solution to this? These are all questions I think we're figuring out as we go along.
Yeah, Bruce, first off, shout out to you. Great question. I didn't want to ignore your question, but I knew we were going to cover some time on this segment. So thanks for joining us on the show today. Yeah, we have seen floor prices fall on a lot of projects, right? And a lot of that is coming from the rising price of Ethereum. But really, if you look and you compare it on a dollar for dollar basis, floor prices are still down based on USD as well. So take like Bored Apes, for example. Prior to an auction they did with Sotheby's, the floor was 45 ETH. Then after the auction, the floor was 40 ETH. And now we have a floor of 30.5 ETH. If you take the Ethereum price at those times, it's still less money now to buy a Bored Ape than it was a couple months ago. And this is where it comes into play of, what communities do you want to be a part of? What projects have long-lasting life? We saw a lot of these projects, Maz, right, that traded kind of at the 1 ETH or below level. Some of them have gotten completely wiped out and gone, down to mint price or lower, right? And it turns back into, what are they doing to provide long-term value in terms of a community and in terms of, future value, right? Is there another mint coming? Is there some sort of value coming? And also, as far as gas goes, Maz, I don't think we've talked about this yet. There's actually, I saw a new one called, is it Immutable? Which is a new, a new platform, right? I think the Doge Pound, when they did their Halloween Doge Mint, I think they used IMX for that to avoid the high gas fees. And again, Doge Pound has been a highly successful project. They've got a floor price of over 3. And the fact that they're starting to, look for alternatives to ETH, I mean, I think that's where we're going with the gas fees. I used to kind of swear off some of these Solana projects, right? Because again, everyone wants to be in the ETH projects, but Solana projects are cheaper to mint in terms of the transaction fees. I mean, until we get ETH 2.0, I think we're going to see alternatives like this pop up. What do you know about IMX, Maz? Do you think that becomes? I think I saw Gary V tweet about it too. And maybe some investors invest in it. So I'm hearing more and more about IMX.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I haven't personally used it, but I am hearing a lot of projects talk about layer 2 solutions, or they're doing minting on other platforms to avoid the gas fees, because that seems to be the problem here. I think if gas fees were a little lower, Ethereum was rising, maybe we wouldn't see such a decline in volume and pricing. But again, so if you've been here since, let's say, May or June, a lot of these prices for these blue chips are still astronomical. Bored Apes are 4 ETH when I first joined in June. Cool Cats were 0.04 when I first joined. A lot of these projects are still way above, what you got in at in June. So I think it's a temporary, top. I do think we find some price discovery along the way. Volume will pick up with Coinbase, hopefully, and there's going to be solutions, hopefully, for the gas, because if not, yeah, that's a big thing. That's, to me, that's the biggest reason why volume's slowing down right now.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at like gas and who's using it, right? It used to be Maz, right, where gas would be like under 100 GUI, and then you'd see a project mint, right, and it would shoot way up. Well, now
Yeah.
throughout the day, you're seeing gas just stay pretty much the same, but it's inflated.
Yeah.
And you look at the big users, and it's, you know, crypto swaps, right? It's your
Mhm.
Uniswap, it's your different exchanges that are using the most gas, as opposed to actual mints, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a flip of where we were a couple months ago, and it also shows, you know, that people are investing in some of these new coins more than they were during the height of NFTs. So you mentioned, you know, kind of a topping event, and I think that's the big thing and why it's important to know risk reward, right? And one of the
Yeah.
things we talked about was if you were minting some of these projects, right, that maybe you mint, you know, 3 or 4, you sell some, right, to take a profit, sort of like I always do with stocks, right? You sell some, lock in your profits, and you let the rest run, right? And then you're
Mhm.
essentially playing with what's called the house's money, right? It's
Yeah.
essentially you're in profit. I think that's important with some of these mints and some of these projects, right? Is you want to get some sort of profit along the way. And yeah, you may miss out on more money, but you limit your downside risk. And if
Mhm.
you bought some of these projects at the top, I mean, you're probably pretty sad right now with looking at some of these floor prices. So, you know, you mentioned Cool Cats, you know, being able to mint that, you know, early on, and now it's, you know, significantly higher. But some of these projects, the Cool Cats, you know, if you would have bought that at the top, I mean, that hit what, I think 10 ETH
13, up
and
to 13.
13, and now it's
Yeah.
6.1. So I mean, we've
Mhm.
halved.
Yeah.
You know, so again, it's important to know when you're buying too, and also not chase some of these projects. So I mean, there's so much to talk about in terms of education, in terms of, you know, trends, and also, you know, some of these projects have fallen off, and you know, it's will they bring new life to it? And again, what's one of the things we always say? Go hop in the Discord, right? Is the
Yeah.
Discord active? Is there just a new post every hour? Is there people chatting all day long? Are people talking about the floor price and concerned, or are they just talking about being in the community, right? Which could be more of a bullish sign of the sustainability. What do you think, Maz, about getting into Discords? How can that kind of pave the way of seeing maybe how a project could come back to life or be, you know, a longer term project?
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? So a lot of times, once these projects sell out, the founders get paid, right? So their incentive to continue to provide for the community, it may not be there fully after they get paid for their first mint, unless they find other ways to monetize. So it's interesting seeing different projects, different founders, how they approach this. You know, when you go into a Discord and you see the community active continuously, even when the floor price is dropping, that's always bullish, you know. A lot of times when the floor price drops and the community starts, you know, talking, you know, why is the floor price dropping? It's a sign that they may be over leveraged. You may see people, you know, just keep dropping the floor, and just not, the community is not built there. So those are always good signs to look for. You know, what I've noticed, so Chris, is with these blue chips, a lot of times you don't need to buy and sell them. You can buy them depending on when you get in. Sure, you know, over time it may go up or down, but you can build a brand around these, and these communities are so big that you can monetize your NFT through different ways, right? You can join just having access to some of these communities provides, you know, financial incentives that you don't have to buy and sell these projects. And that's kind of what I'm looking at as well, is which projects will allow me to do that.
Yeah, and I mean that goes a little bit back to Doge Pound, right? You know,
Yeah.
that's been one we've interviewed them on the show, right? And you know, I remember when they were first on the show, they had a floor price of like zero point 0.8, right? And one of the things
Yeah.
I said was, "Hey, they have an airdrop coming. Everyone is going to get a Doge Pound puppy. That's
Yeah.
another NFT that you're going to get." And going right along with what you just said, Maz, now they're offering whitelist access to other
Yeah.
projects, right? That provides you value without having to sell your Doge Pound, like you just said. Um, so that's a great point. Also, staking, right? You know, you talked about the orcs on here the one time, right? And how
Yeah.
you could stake and earn more orcs along the way. And then maybe you sell those orcs, right? Again, lock in some profits, and you don't have to sell your original item. A lot of these are now doing staking. Crypto Dads was just on, right? They're going to do staking in the future. And I mean, you look at the floor price of Dads, and we're down to 0.22. And I mean, this was around, 1 ETH, I think, when we first had them on. Again, focus on the long term. Were you impressed with what they said about the roadmap, right? They're going to do staking. They're going to do, eventually down the road, crypto tots. They've got a lot of things coming. And also, if you jump in their Discord, which I'm in that Discord, it's very active. It is a big community, and everyone is chatting about, the future, not about the floor price.
Yeah.
So again, look for those signs. Maz, I talk a lot about, future events, airdrops. Metaverse, right, is one of the projects we've talked about a lot on the show, right? And I mean, this was hot out of the gate, right? 100,000 people trying to get in. They were selling for 5 ETH plus before reveal. Floor price dropped below 1. And now we're back up to 1. They're doing another NFT. Did you see that, Maz, that they finally have shown the Mecha bots? So each person is going to get an airdrop, a Mecha bot, if you own a Mecha. Do you think that, that could be enough to maybe keep this project going and bring new life to a project that kind of got written off, right? Or is this just a one-time event and we see, the floor drop out after everyone gets these bots?
Man, I'm not sure these airdrops are working anymore in current conditions, because if there's what's the utility behind them? If you can find a way to connect them to the Mecha world, introduce new people to the Mecha universe, depending on the utility, but just doing an airdrop, I've noticed, may not be the best to continue to build the, momentum. I've realized people just buy and sell it, and it tends to kill the floor as well. So it just depends. If they can provide some utility with it, if they can introduce a new market into the Metaverse world, then hopefully we do see some success for them. But it just depends. I don't think just an airdrop will do it anymore. Maybe they could have done it a couple months ago and not anymore.
Yeah, great point. I mean, yeah, I think 3 months ago, if you had an airdrop coming, I mean, that was a huge event. But utility, right? So, if Mecha does, where if you own a Mechaverse and a Mecha bot, maybe you get some sort of advantage or some sort of staking, that's definitely different. But yeah, I mean, I think people are probably getting in, going to get these bots. They're going to sell the bots, and then they're going to sell the Mechas, and we're just going to see this dip below 1 ETH again, which is where it was not too long ago. So I was actually surprised to see it get back to 1 ETH, Mass, because I really thought this project had kind of been written off. And again, I still haven't seen anyone using this as their PFP. So
yeah, it's a good point. I saw a couple the first week or two, but then I haven't seen anybody really use it, which again, it shows you was there so much hype that they couldn't really build a community around it, so people just looked at it as a quick flip. And that's one thing we've seen. What are quick flips? What are people holding? And yeah, it's interesting to see that.
Yeah, so we got a couple more minutes left for everyone watching or listening in. So we'll talk about a couple more projects, but everyone out there in the chat, I'm curious. Let us know if there's any projects right now that you think have dipped their floor price that have, a sustainable long-term plan. So tell us what the project is and give us maybe a description of why you think it's a good project for the long term. I want to hear everyone's call out there, not just the project name, but give us maybe a reason why. And we'll try to highlight some of those. It looks like we already got some coming in here. But Maz, before we get to the chat, we just talked about a lot of PFPs, right? Let's talk art blocks for a minute, right? We had art blocks on the show a couple weeks ago. This is an NFT that really held up well in value for a long time. But with all these NFTs coming down, I mean, are we starting to see floor prices on art blocks fall as well?
So generative art is one thing that it depends who you ask, but it seems like a lot of big money is accumulating. But floor prices for art blocks, people have said that the market's oversaturated. They used to have drops, I mean, like 4 or 5 drops a week. And a lot of times over the last couple of weeks, they haven't been selling out. They launched this week a curated drop, which I thought was really nice. It did sell out, which is great to see. It did have, it doubled in price right away, and then it kind of came back down towards mint price. So we will see. I'm personally a big fan of generative art. I think, especially art blocks, they do a great job of providing a good collection overall. But yeah, I'm sure we'll see some dips here and there for certain pieces. It's crazy because like the Fidenzas, they're what 96 ETH floor right now. They were at 200, at the peak, so they've come down what like 50%. But I do think these projects hold value over time, especially the specific ones like the Fidenzas, the Squiggles, and certain different ones. Yeah. Oh, it's 85 now, so yeah, it's dropping a bit. But these pieces are so cool and they have such value already attached to them that when big money comes in, they're going to want these. And I think this is one of those pieces that over time will be worth a lot more.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those projects where you're probably not buying it to flip it right away, right? You're
No, yeah.
buying it to hold. It's more of a store of value at this point.
Mhm.
Well, it looks like we got some coming in the chat there. I see a call out of humanoids, but not really a description why.
Yeah.
Head DAO, Maz. I don't think we've actually talked about Head DAO on the show. I actually
Yeah.
owned some of these for a while. I sold them, but that is, a project that has bought into CryptoPunks, VFriends, and now Bored Ape, and they also have staking. What do you think of Head DAO? Based on buying into these other projects and also the staking, is that something that can keep that going? I know the floor has come down a bit on this project recently.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, so anyone watching this, feel free to share this in your Discord or on Twitter, because that's how we found a lot of projects. That's how we found the Crypto Dads, and that's how they came on. That's how we found Lazy Lions, and that's how they came on. And they announced their roadmap exclusively here on Monday. So if you're watching this, share this with your community, have them come on the chat and just engage with us, and hopefully we can get them on sooner or later. Head DAO, Shamdu, he's the guy that founded it. I think he's
Yep.
16 years old?
16 years old, and he doxed
Yeah.
himself at New York NFT, I believe. So
Yeah, exactly. So I've heard a lot of great things from him. I follow him on Twitter. This project had a lot of hype when the DAOs were popping. It's great to see a comeback. I personally I'm not too familiar with it, but I know you had some, Chris. What do you think about it? I'm not too sure.
yeah, I own some, and I mean, again, it was kind of like holding a mini investment, right? Because of buying the CryptoPunk, the VFriends, the Bored Apes, and then the staking, and also having Shamdu attached to it, right? A big name. I
Yeah.
kind of liked that, right? But I did take my profits. I mean, this was a project that minted out, and then I think it hit all the way up to like 0.8, 0.9 ETH.
Mhm.
And now we're back down in the 20s. So the 0.20s. But I mean, I think it's one of those projects really trying to show that it can keep going, right? With the
Yeah.
staking and buying into these projects. Peaceful Groupies, I'm seeing mentioned, Maz. That is one I have not heard of. And,
Oh,
and
I
the
have.
comment from Vital's here, again, thanks for following what I said here. Give us a reason. Solid community and peace token coming. The
Mhm.
artist is very active and involved in pushing the project forward. So, Maz, without knowing anything about this project, I at least like that thesis, right? That there's a
Mhm.
token coming and that the artist is active in the community. I mean, based on that, I mean, I think it's at least worth looking at. Again, I don't know this project. I'm pulling up the artwork now if we can get that on screen. Peaceful Groupies. Um, yeah, I mean, interesting project, but do
I
you know
love
this
their
one at
art,
all,
but
Mass?
yeah, no,
Yeah, look at that art.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I love their art. I think they make great profile pictures. I have one or two I still have, I believe. I haven't really checked out the floor price or anything. Yeah, like the one on the right. These are cool as hell. I love these a lot. Yeah, I love the work. I've spent some time in the Discord. The community is pretty awesome. They had a nice run up. They were over 1 ETH for a while in the peak bull run. So yeah, I haven't kept up with them, but I personally like the art. I still hold a couple pieces.
Awesome. And then, Maz, what else are you seeing in the chat there? I'm seeing the Lost Glitches, Diaper
So
Dogs, the
diaper
Cheeto.
dogs.
What do you want to talk about
Yeah,
here? Diaper
diaper
Dogs?
dogs. I'm actually in their Discord, and I saw them actually talking about the roadmap couple over the weekend. So I've been recommended to them by a couple people as well. So I guess they have a free mint coming this month, and the artist Wizard Skull is extremely receptive to the community. Yeah, he's active in there all the time, and yeah, it looks like a great PFP project. And they're cute little dogs with diapers. I mean,
And this was a small one, right? We're less than
yeah.
1,000 pieces in this, and it's going to kind of be like a Genesis project, right? Where people who
Hmm.
own the original Diaper Dog are going to get that free mint, and it it kind of follows the pixel theme a little bit, although it's a little bit more advanced than that. But yeah, this one was recommended in a Discord I saw as well. And I like the thesis there, right? That you're getting the free mint coming. So definitely one that I have on the watch list there.
Exactly. Yeah, there's some gems out there right now. Yeah, we're in a bear cycle. What that means is we just have to do more research but there's some good projects out there that I'm sure a year from now we'll be like, whoa, I wish we would have got in at this price. So
Yeah, definitely. All right. What else? We got a couple more minutes left. The lost glitches I'm seeing mentioned from Janex here. Let me pull this up. Most under the radar project, well under mint, that has kept trucking along, funded and working on development of their Game Now token coming in December. So a game and a token, Maz. Do you know the lost glitches?
I do not know.
Oh, I have not seen this before. That's interesting artwork there. Well, thank you for sharing that one. Again, that's what we're all about on the show here, getting some new ideas, some education. This one, it looks like it's very, very cheap though. So I'm not sure, probably would have to pass on this, but thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah, and as always, do your own research.
Yep, not
Take some
financial
time.
advice.
Yeah, do your own research. A lot of these projects, before you ever buy them, you want to join the Discord. You want to check their Twitter account. You want to see what the community's like. Don't just jump into projects like this. A lot of times there's some good deals out there, but take some time, do your research, and yeah, not financial advice.
Well, and especially with gas being so high too, if you're buying a NFT that's like less than 0.03, you're probably paying more in gas than you actually are for the NFT.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's
crazy.
something to take into consideration too. Glue Factory, I saw mentioned in the chat, and I know that we actually had them on our Moon or Bust show, another show here on Benzinga. So the comment here was Glue Factory show has dropped down to 0.04, but are building an animated show with actual Hollywood voice actors and writers, weekly writing assignments used in show end of year. Maz, I remember when this one minted, that was their big feature, right? Was that they were going to do a show and that maybe your horse could be featured in the show. What do you think of this project? And, I mean, with them having the show coming, is that, more of a long-term thought process here?
It's interesting to hear because I've seen so many projects talk about a show. I personally want to see the show come out first before I really jump into the gun here. But, a lot of these projects, they're jumping into shows. Is the future going to be like Netflix, Fox, all NFT, collabing with these projects? It would be crazy to see if a lot of our shows become NFT collabs, which would be crazy. So it's good to see they're doing that. I just can't wait to see it actually happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, right, where like, again, you can put everything down on paper. You can have the best looking roadmap, but it takes time. And really, until you roll all that out, you're probably going to see people, come and go along the way. If I remember correctly, I think they have some people who have, written shows before attached to the project. So that's, a nice sign. But yeah, I mean, I think shows is going to be a thing going forward. I mean, Crypto Dads hinted at that when they were on the other day, right? And again, I go back to Bored Apes. Bored Apes signed a talent agency deal, and so did Pixel Vault, right? And so did CryptoPunks. These bigger projects are signing deals to monetize their project, and whether that means brand licensing or getting into media, I think you're going to see that going forward. And maybe some of these NFTs that, wanted to do a show from the start, maybe they can get there quicker. Otherwise, it could be a rush for all these NFT projects to, try to launch a show, and not all of them are going to be able to. And maybe some of these projects, don't end up succeeding then.
Exactly. But it's going to be cool to watch. And like the Crypto Dad said, imagine auditioning your own NFT to be on the show, maybe, on certain episodes. That's going to be, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it looks like we are running out of time here. Again, Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern time. We had a great interview today. So Blockchain Boys Club, and again, shout out to Blockchain Boys Club for sponsoring today's episode.
Yes.
And you can find all that information below in the description and how you can get on their whitelist before their mint on November 20th. Maz, we've got an interview on tomorrow's show. Do
Yes,
you
we
want to
do.
tell everyone who's coming on tomorrow's episode?
Yeah, actually. So we have Fang Gang joining us tomorrow. So you see here they have the cute little profile pictures. I've seen a good amount of them on Twitter. They're cute. They're kind of mysterious in a way. I like them. I can't wait, especially that ninja one right there. That's pretty cool. So it should be a fun episode.
Should be fun for sure. I'm loving those. Very cute project. And again, I've actually seen people use these as PFPs.
Yeah.
So even though this is a lower price, people
Mhm.
use it for their PFP as opposed to Mecca, right? Where it's more
Yeah.
expensive, but people don't use it as their PFP. So take from that what you will. But we'll be diving in with Fang Gang, hearing about what's to come for their project. So definitely stay tuned for tomorrow's episode, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Maz, any parting thoughts before we head out for the day?
Yeah, as always, if you guys love this content, make sure to give us a like, comment down below any projects that we should be looking at. We're always, trying to find the top projects or the projects you guys want. We're still early with this show. So as we evolve, we want the community to have a say in it. So make sure to, join us as well. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Definitely. You heard Mass say it. Got to smash that like on your way
Yes.
out. Subscribe to the Benzinga YouTube channel. If you're watching this show after we aired live, leave a comment. I go back, I read the comments. Mass does as well. So we want to hear what projects you guys are talking about. And as Mass said earlier, share this in your Discords. Let your Discords know, hey, let's go join the roadmap. Tell them about the project, and we can get the team on for an interview. So we'd love to have more teams come on. And as always, stay tuned. Coming up next, you've got Benzinga's pre-market prep at the close, talking about the big events of the day. Maz, for anyone who follows stocks, it was a big day out there.
I don't want to check my phone.
There was an IPO of Rivian. There's a lot going on with electric vehicle companies, Ford shares, GM shares. So don't go anywhere. If you follow the stock market, you get to hear all about how today went. But that will do it for us. Take care, everyone.